but obviously there's been a bit of a fracture since then. How important is it to go?
Yeah, well, I was mentioning when I did an interview for Nottingham Forest TV yesterday, for our own media, I was mentioning this idea that I think there's a depth to the fans here, and I'm not just saying it, because I've been watching, I've been a kid here, and I've seen it over the years, the goods, the bads, the highs, the lows, all of it. And there's a small part of the fan base that will think, well, we're here now. But there's a deeper part that go, no, this is not a given. I think it's a reality. Now, no, you can't just step from just getting in to the Premier League, then just staying in, then staying in just a bit better, and then suddenly going up there and that's it. It's a given forever. I don't believe that the fan base of Nottingham Forest think it's a given. So I think there's a bit of balance to that. And maybe the start of this season has reminded that part of the fan base where they've gone, actually, we knew we couldn't just keep doing that, but we can reinforce. So they've tried to reinforce, and now it's getting the blend right to keep moving forwards. That's what I'm suggesting. It's just that, there's a little slither of fan bases which are younger and they think it's all like this, they think it's all billionaire owned and that, we just move everything forward. I mean, I've seen enormous changes here. The owners had a bit of question marks home, but look at the changes from day one to now. They're huge changes at this football club. So, you can question the owner currently, which a few have, but at the end of the day, the bigger picture is a lot of goodwill, a lot of good feeling, a lot of good feeling around the area, the city, everything. So, there's a bigger picture to it.
Sure. So, still on the owner, he's obviously a very ambitious man. I'm guessing he said more to you than this season's more.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you everything he said, of course.
Well, but it's more than just keeping Forest up, isn't it? You want a bit more.
No, he wants it to stabilise first. He's well aware of the challenges. He's been around football a long time, obviously with Olympiacos, then here. So stability is the first next move, if you like. But that's not an acceptability for the whole run of being Nottingham Forest manager. I think we're all aware. Well, I don't want that. I don't just sit here and go, oh well, that's okay then. I always say to players, don't accept all rightness. All rightness doesn't get you anything. Let's push for more than all rightness. Maybe people can be all right in their life, and there's nothing wrong with that. But as a football manager, a football coach, a football player, you should be wanting more. But the first thing is, can we just stabilise the situation? I think everyone knows that. You guys have been writing about it for weeks, So then can you move it forward? But it still needs the basics putting back into the team, I think, from my point of view, this is. Because I think they've just lost sight of that a little bit. So that's the start point. But no, of course, he wants more for Nottingham. He wouldn't do all this, if it wasn't for wanting more. But I think he equally is aware from the end of last season, if you look at the stats and facts, like I said, he does keep up with what's going on the pitch and all the story behind it. And they did have a tough run at the end of the season. Although it was a great season, let me remind you of that. And the blend of a season can be like that. But at the end, it was, a tough run. And someone was reminding me the other day, 20 games without a clean sheet, that sort of thing. So there is work to be done. I think he's aware of that. And he's just saying to me, right, we want you to do the work. That's the manager's job. And he's right. That is mine, my staff's, and the player's job to correct it and then see how far we can move it forward.
Sure, will you still be able to attend Thursday Club tomorrow, or maybe?
I was going to say game day. I don't think I'll be attending it tomorrow. No, I'm looking forward to seeing the Miracle Men. Brilliant times. They have old stories and modern stories. They're up to date. They get, especially with this club, of course. The club do right by them. They come down and watch the games. So they give me a bit of ear rolling, I think, if things get going as well. So I better win some games for them because they'll give me a bit of stick. But no, it's great. Them guys mean a lot to me. They've come to mean a lot. I've learned a lot about them, over the last sort of 4 or so years. And Johnny's been a big part of that with his film and how he brought all that together. And I know there's a lot of Forest fans who really recognise the history of this club. I certainly do. I've got my own, and I've got a chance to reinvent my own, I suppose, in a way, and be manager and see what I can do with it.
I think you said yesterday in the club interview you don't want to sort of rely on history, I suppose, you and your staff, for obvious reasons. How important is it for you to strike that kind of balance and maybe detach a little bit from you guys?
We'll have to tell a story because we all have been touched by the club. But that doesn't there's no shortcut with the fans. But I have to tell the story. We do care. That's one thing I don't think would ever be questioned about being here. And I'm not questioning. That's no slant at others before you start changing words. Not you personally, but there's always I have a go at people. I'm not having a go at anyone. But with our history, particularly, myself, because I was young, don't forget, all I was dreaming of was wearing the shirt, wearing the badge, I never got to do it. Stoney Woney did. Billy did somewhat as a sort of lone goalkeeper as cover. Tony wore it and scored a goal. I was the only one who didn't, actually. They keep reminding me of that. But so for me to have that part of it is a big thing for me personally. So I've got to explain that to people while I'm here, but it doesn't give me a divine right. Trust me, the fans will want me to win. If they ain't winning, they're going to come at me because that's the way fans work, and I've got no problem with that. That's the reality. But I think I should explain why it means more, because I was here as a kid and I never wore the shirt. Well, now I've got a chance to wear it, and now I sit with it on me. So it's not a bad situation.
Last one before we move to Porto.
How much of an impact did that era have on you? Did it shape you some of your football principles, even though you were only...
Well, in a different way it did, because, you can't always play in the way that Brian Clough played with the players he had then. People keep telling me about this modern way of playing, and I was describing this just the other day to someone, so, I'll recount it very quickly, but the goalkeeper, 2 centre-half split, the full-back split as wide as they can. If the goal can play out, he's encouraged to play out as quick as possible. Neil Webb comes deep to get the ball, and he rotates. It's like, now they call it a pivot. Steve Hodges stretching the pitch. Brian Wright comes inside as an inside winger. Franz Carl stretches the pitch. Nigel Clough comes off the front in the false 9. And then Peter Davenport stretches the pitch, or Lee Chapman goes the hold-up player higher up the pitch. That sounds pretty modern to me. But they tell me the game's radically changed. What's changed is the detail in the game. The analytics, the health and fitness, the mental fitness of players, the support systems. But the game hasn't radically changed. The pitch is still the same size, roughly speaking. Do you know what I mean? The ball is still roughly the same, a bit lighter maybe, they tell me. But until that changes, the fundamentals of football will always be that. The new thing about set pieces, roughly down the years, it's still about 25 to 30%, very roughly down the years. Hasn't changed that much. Crosses are with the new passing, because if you notice, we all watched England the other week, and everyone's looking at the TV going, please cross the ball. Because people will have to score a goal, and the more packed defences get, it's harder to play through, things like that. So there's all these different ways of what happens in football. But, all the demands of football are right there in front of us. So don't get too carried away with the perception, don't get too carried away with all the other influences. The one thing I do know is football, and my staff know football, and the players are learning more and more and more about football. That's the job, but you've got to win. Make no mistake, you've got to win.
Last one.
You certainly do have to win, because that's not what Ange Postecoglou did, and he only lasted 39 days. But Sean Dyche is the new man at charge at Nottingham Forest. Good to see him back, and he's enjoying it at the moment, isn't he, in front of the media? Right.
We've got to take responsibility first, and it's a great thing for a manager to hear that when players are honest enough to go, look, the manager can take us so far, that's their job. But for players to take responsibility, I think that's a real big thing. So there's definitely an honesty amongst the group here. Sorry to interrupt, but I think that's important.
Do you feel a sense of trust already? No, as in...
Well, it's early, yeah. I'd like to think they do their own work. I'd like to think they know enough people in the game and ring around. I've let them wear white socks, for goodness sake. I never let anyone wear white socks. I had my ex-players caning me, WhatsApps going, Gaffer, you got white socks on. Fair, innit? Not allowed to wear snoozer hats, so I had to do a deal somewhere, you know what I mean? Sorry to interrupt.
No.
Can I ask you a team news question? We didn't see Chris Wood out there training today. We know he's been struggling with a knee problem.
Yeah, Ola's got a longer term situation, I think, is already out there. And Woody's got a knock. We're wondering whether it's going to settle down, probably touch and go at the moment, because it does need settling down. He's been off the grass, so we're going to have to touch and go and see how that one is.
So is he for tomorrow?
And back was injured as well, but we'll find out more news on that.
Is the touch and go for tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll see how he is, yeah. Sorry, guys.
Go for it.
Owen, BBC.
All right. Those Forest connections with Sean, with the rest of the coaching staff, how important do you think?
Yeah, I think very important. I think probably since Roy Keane and Martin O'Neill were here, we haven't had a coaching staff who have that connection. And I feel like when they were here, I feel like they just understand what the club's about, the culture, what makes it tick, and yeah, obviously they know the club straight away, and you'd like to think that's going to help the players. And yeah, I think it just, like I said before, I think it just brings the fans closer to the players on the pitch. And yeah, we're looking for anything we can, and every little 1%. And yeah, I certainly think that's going to help.
How are you feeling ahead of tomorrow? Another big occasion at the City Ground.
I think it's so exciting. I know we said before we'd even kicked a ball in the Europa League that, we're back in Europe for the first time in many, many years. And yeah, that buzz, obviously didn't get the result we wanted at home against Midtjylland. And yeah, a team who have a lot of quality in Porto. It's going to be a tough game, but what an opportunity to get a result and yeah, kick things off in the best way possible.
Thank you.
Thank you. Marco for RTP. You have a question, Mark?
For the coach. Hello, So I would like to ask you, what do you expect from your team realistic for tomorrow game, and what do you expect for the FC Porto team?
Well, Porto have had a great start. We know they're unbeaten in the league and in Europe, so they're obviously a good outfit. We know that. We've done some work with the players. It's been difficult to cram a lot of work into the players, but I think they've been very receptive so far and open-minded. And probably some are just reminders of what they've done well as well. I've spoke openly before. I explained to them the pride I took of being on the outside of their group last year watching them, because I thought the way they went about it was fantastic. Nothing to do with style, but the mentality. And I was saying about the players, the connection they have with each other as a group. As a manager, if the culture and environment are right, that's a big step forward, and I don't think it's far wrong. My point is, they've there's a glue that holds these lads together, and you can feel it. And now, if we can just play our part in maybe just shifting it and sort of shaking it into our liking, and they respond, then we've got a good mixture. But yeah, so I'd expect the team to go out there and be on the front foot and take the game on with a high energy sort of towards getting a result. I think that's the minimum we can expect of each other. But they are a good outfit. We know that. We've shown the team some analysis. We know the record they've got so far this season. But here at the City Ground, we think we want to build a mentality where we can take anyone on, and certainly they've shown that over the last season, certainly, where they'll go wherever it is and take the team on, and we want that mentality to be firm.